Welcome back. This is the second video on the topic of Grignard reaction. In the previous video, we looked at the reaction with respect to a ketone. This time, we are going to look at it with respect to an aldehyde. Now, again, as with last time, I want to drive down the whole purpose of these two videos is if you're starting with a ketone, okay, and you perform a Grignard reaction, okay, you are going to get a tertiary alcohol as a product. Now, why do I say this is there are ways to remember without actually memorizing blindly the concept. I mean, how much will you remember by the final day of the class? No, there's no way. So try to remember it without actually being, trying to memorize the whole thing, all right? So ketone gives you tertiary alcohol, and aldehyde, if you're going to do a Grignard reaction, would give you a secondary alcohol. Okay. All right, so we have an aldehyde here. This is the functional group, and this is the carbon containing the double bond O and the H. So this is our functional group, and that's the aldehyde, right? And as with the last time, I'm going to choose my R to be CH3, and I'm going to keep my X as Br. So essentially the same thing, okay? Fact is, when you see MgBr, you should know it's a Grignard reaction, and you should just determine whether it's aldehyde or ketone. From there, the process should be very straightforward, right? So this is our reactant. Right? So this is the carbon, which is the site. I'm going to call it the active site. This is the site of interest, right? So this is where this is going to attack, okay? And as with the previous case, there's not much has changed, okay? So here is your active site, and the O gets itself attached to the MgBr, and then the CH3 gets itself attached to the same carbon, and then you have your hydrogen, right? So this is what has been added to this active site from what you designed, okay? Now the H plus acts on it, and then we have our final product. Right? The CH3 stays there. The OMGR becomes OH. Now, if you see the site which is active for, which is the carbon, now contains a hydrogen, right? So it's a secondary alcohol. And that's all there is to it. As I said, the one way which this problem can really be tested is, given the product, what type of reactants would you design to achieve that product? Okay, that's kind of the goal on one way of testing this question. Okay, again, this is the initial phase of understanding the material, and of course we will do a lot of material through quizzes, homeworks, worksheets, and practice tests and stuff before you would really be ready to tackle this material on an exam, right? So this concludes the idea of Grignard reaction, and we still have one more video to tackle, which would be ketal or acetal formations, all right? So stay tuned.